if there was ever such thing as an actual movie dynasty, the Marvel Cinematic Universe would probably be at the top of everybody's list. Ever since 2008, we have been inundated with Marvel, and more Marvel. And of course, it's refreshing just knowing that it's not only just on the pages of your comics now or the television screens, but the big screen as well. Many kids in this day and age have grown up with the actors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as their particular icons that they're familiar with and will continue to be familiar with, hopefully for the coming decades. So I'm really excited for this one. It's our first opportunity to really get to explore the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least at an overview level. And I couldn't do this without some friends who are waiting patiently backstage. But first off, I'm going to welcome everyone once again to the Toy Connections online live stream, or TKO. And we're going to talk about your favorite superheroes right here and now. But first, we're going to bring in somebody who's been studying up and brushing up on the Marvel Cinematic Universe herself. Well, she basically needs no introduction if you're familiar with her across this channel and some of the other channels that the audience that we've got on Toy Connections happens to follow. So she was last year for a House of the Dragon live stream with us last fall. She's back here to talk some Marvel. So welcome back to TKO, Kayla Silva.
Hello. Thanks for having me on. I'm so excited to talk about this universe. It's crazy, gigantic universe that we've been part of for, oh my gosh, what, like 15 years now?
That's right, since 2008. Since Iron Man and Hulk came out in 2008, and we thought that Edward Norton was going to be our Hulk for this. And I think that was before we realized that. Did we? Okay.
I don't know, because I feel like it was an afterthought that they were like, out of the two Hulk movies, they were like, oh, we're gonna choose this one as part of the MCU now. But I could be wrong.
You know what? I don't think we even knew there was going to be a universe at that point in time. So
yeah,
but
I think it wasn't until Avengers. I mean, obviously with Thor and with Captain America after that, we knew it was going somewhere. I don't think we had any idea the extent that it would be.
I found out when I was sitting in the theater and they aired the trailer for the Avengers, and my wife turned to me and said, "Where's Batman?" And I was like, "Yeah, we'll have to have this conversation now." She's like, "I don't get it. Is this why are they all? It's like why are they all together? Can they just bring anybody?" I'm like, "It has to be under Marvel." And we were watching a different movie at the time, so I'm like, "I'll explain it to you after." It has to do with licensing and comics and everything. So yes,
yep.
Anywho, we do have a giveaway to do at the end of this stream, and the very generous benefactor of the giveaway is about to join us right now. So we can probably say that this TKO podcast / live stream is brought to you by Mega J Retro. He's muted, so it's all good.
Muted.
I'm just going to talk over him while he's muted.
It's too freaking early, guys. Like, honestly, what the heck?
It's too early?
It's too early.
Yeah, you and I were up streaming until the wee hours.
Aren't you on Eastern time?
Yeah. Silver K. We were up until like 4 a.m. in the morning last night, and then
Oh God.
Yeah, I was there with you. I was absolutely there with you. It's all good.
It's only 2. It was only 2 a.m. for Ken. Whatever. Whatever.
You're crazy.
I'm here. All right. Hey, what's up, guys? Good to see you.
Well, if you want a quick power nap and then come back
Sunday, everybody. Happy
no
Sunday.
Pressure.
Happy freaking Sunday, man. Like, seriously, we're here. What are we talking about? Marvel?
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about Marvel, and we're gonna do the spinning of the names at the end. Unless you manage to find that fancy duck race, we're gonna be using the wheel of names.
You know what? No, let's just do the wheel of names.
I'm
too tired to find the damn duck race.
I'm gonna buy you.
I can send you the.
I think there's only 10 names for free too if you do the duck race, from what I remember.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
because we'll do the wheel.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll buy you some time to get yourself woken up by saying hello.
I'm just kidding.
I know. I know you're just playing around because I know we got the same amount of rest, even though I know it was 4 a.m. for you and it was 1 a.m. for me. But
here's the problem. You're sleep proof, right? You got like 4 kids. You got like 2.5 kids or something like that. So they.
No, I got one kid. I got one kid and Ralph. But yes. But yes, you're right. I am sleep proof most of the
See,
time.
you're sleep proof, man. Like the rest of us need
Toys
like,
count as half a kid.
yeah, we need the rest of us need a few hours at least. You know, like, you got the half an hour power nap, and you're good to go, man. Like,
That's basically been my life
you know,
since
this
2015.
beard doesn't
6.5
grow.
hours.
This beard doesn't grow on its own, man. You know, it needs time to ruminate.
One day he's gonna show up with the beard dyed completely red, and
Never.
we're just gonna be like,
Never.
"Is that Mega J, or is that like his
Never.
alternate universe?"
You should do
That's the
purple.
Loki.
Never.
That's the Loki version of Mega J. So yes. All right, let's
Dying's dangerous, man. It affects your brain. Not a good idea.
let's say hello to the chat. See who happens to be here. We got Ostradamus Toys. We got Figuratively Speaking, Charlie Weaver, Lucha Johnny. We got Brick Something. Who else we got here? We got Pericles, Dragon Ball Z, Ryan Sweeney, Boba Hicks, Dynamo Dave 2002. We got Skyfall, Kayla Silva pulling double duty. We got Black Phoenix 77, Emerald Knight Photos, who was up late with us last night on that same stream. Let's see who else we got. We got Carla Wolforth.
Oh, it's my friend.
Yes.
Hi, Carla.
Welcome.
We went to high
Welcome,
school
friend.
together.
Awesome. And you were both still in high school when the Marvel Cinematic Universe started, if I recall correctly.
Yes. Yep. Freshman.
Yeah.
End of freshman year. Going into sophomore year. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So we got the Shinobu.
Sorry to.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. We got Will Agnes. We got TJC. Who else we got? Who else has joined us? Highly articulated, cursing in the chat using that word we're not allowed to use. But, you know, I'm talking about the Kid Alt word, not the Mega J word. All right.
I've
All right.
seen some people do 1D and some people do 2Ds with Kiddles.
I think it's supposed to be 1D.
I think
Everybody wants the D, man. Students.
Yeah.
Do them.
Oh, and we got
nobody.
And
got
the double Ds.
Nobody cares.
double Ds, no double Ds. And we got the Canuck, one of the channel members. Hello. And Kayla, thank you for sharing this link on the Discord. I literally went to share it on the Discord, and you already had. And you got more likes than I normally do. So I might just employ you to just share all my links from now on. So, like,
I'm fine with that.
Little known fact, Kayla's actually far more popular than I am. She just doesn't have an outlet or a platform. And people are going to discover after this stream, they're going to be like, dang, I'm going to have to bring Kayla on my own show at some point. And I'm like, no, she's mine. Right? She can be the John to my Jay, or the Jay to my John. So, yes.
Ooh, that is a tough shoes to fill.
No, it's all good. Everyone's been asking you to start your own social media outlet where they can follow you.
Popular. Come on. They're not that popular.
I know you hype too much, Ken.
They only went to Germany, come on.
Yeah, on an amazing what do you call it? That amazing news trip where they got us all the Masters of the Universe drops and reveals.
Lauren Mesa.
We all love the guys there.
We all do. So everyone stay tuned for a giveaway, which we'll be doing close to the end here. You can find it in the description of the video, and you can also find it in the link I'm about to paste here. You need to hashtag in that video, all one word, Toy Connections is the best. I will add your name to the list of names that I've got open in another tab, and we will do a Wheel of Names giveaway sometime close to the end, depending on how long it takes us to get through discussing all phases and all movies and all characters of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Wait a minute. Hold on. That might take a little while, but we're going to try to abbreviate that as much as we can. Kayla's been studying.
Every single person. I'm sorry.
Yes.
That would take forever.
I'm an NPC. Just ignore me.
You're in a non-playable character.
I'm a non-playable character. I'll just.
Why? Because you prefer DC over Marvel? Is that why?
No.
Not playable.
Oh, sorry.
I will jump in whenever necessary.
You will jump in whenever necessary. All right. Yeah, I forgot to ask you whether you were a Marvel fan before I invited you to this thing. So I'm sitting there going, for all I know, he maybe can't stand the movies, but we needed to do the giveaway, so I just defaulted.
You should ask people first. That's the problem.
You're right. Like I could literally be like, so what do you think of Spider-Man? He'll be like, who? Right.
Was he in the He-Man? Was he in the Master Universe?
I'm sure he was in your head canon.
He was the Mighty Spectre, right? He was the Mighty Spectre.
I'm trying to decide how to react to that comment, and I could either go with what did I say about no cursing, or I could just say no, he wasn't the Mighty Spectre. I actually have nothing against that character being included in, or that particular character, just because it gives people kind of a meme or a gif to kind of fall back on every single time, which has kind of become what it is. Anyway,
that's all good.
Oh, wow, a lot of people in today, in the chat today. But well, what I thought I'd begin doing is kind of ask kind of the broad general question, and the question is. I was going to be really snarky and be like, the question is, how's my hair look today and how's my lighting? But no, that wouldn't have been as funny as I thought it would have been. It just would have been really snarky. So the question actually is, how do you both feel about the Marvel franchise today? And do you think it's lost some steam, or whether it's as popular as it's ever been? See Mega J shaking his head, collecting his thoughts. So I'll go to Kayla first then, before we throw Mega J on his soapbox.
What's up?
Yeah. I've been thinking this a lot because I mean, I feel like it's just been everywhere within the past, I don't know, maybe like 6 months or so. If, you know, the MCU has lost its steam or it's not what it used to be. And I was kind of starting to think maybe the same thing. Maybe it has lost its steam until I did this watch this past week of the Phase 4 movies. And I think that, you know, they may not have been the greatest movies, but I was thinking back to the beginning of the Infinity Saga and, you know, Phase 1, Phase 2 of those. And there were some ones that weren't very good in those phases as well. Like there was Iron Man 2, there was Thor 2, even Thor 1 was kind of iffy. And, you know, but then we had those, you know, better, more infinity plot driven movies that I think really filled in and built up all the other ones that were around it. And I'm just really hoping that that's what's kind of happening now with this new multiverse saga, that, you know, we're just in the beginning of things again. And these are the fun character development movies that may not have as much to do with the multiverse saga. And there's some that are. There's, you know, Spider-Man, there's Doctor Strange, now Ant-Man that came out, and hoping that maybe that there'll be more of those soon that will be able to contribute to the multiverse plot a little bit more. I mean, I have hope. I think that, like we were talking about before, that at the very beginning of the MCU, we had no idea what it was going to be like, and I think we obviously have some idea where this one is going, but I don't think we have a full, complete picture of it yet. So I think it's kind of unfair to say that, you know, it's lost steam until we can see some more movies come out, and particularly movies that are more important to the multiverse, like saga and plot.
Okay.
So I haven't given up hope yet. I mean,
right.
These movies are really fun, and I've loved all the shows in Phase 4. They've been awesome, and it's nice to have those shows. I think that, you know, maybe some of the more hardcore fans, you know, might have problems with it, but I think it's also a recency bias because we just had, you know, the culmination of 23 movies with Endgame, and technically I think No Way Home was part of it, or was it Far From Home? And were just such, you know, amazing movies and the culmination of this entire Infinity Saga. And I think because we just had those, and going to the beginning of a whole new saga is kind of like, oh, okay, we're starting here again. So I think people have been a little more critical of these movies than, you know, maybe they should be, or maybe would have if, you know, the multiverse saga, you know, was the first saga in the MCU.
All right, fair enough. That's a good way to kind of bring it full circle. Like, you touched on all the phases, you touched on the TV series, which we can't forget, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that's a big part of it too, is the series that we did have before these Disney Plus ones really need to be watched in order to understand the movie, or vice versa. Whereas now they're a little more integral, especially since we have bigger characters in these shows. And so I think people are kind of torn between well, like I have to watch the shows now to watch movies, and like that's so annoying. Whereas like I'm like, that's amazing. Give me all the MCU content you can. Or some people are like, oh, you don't really need to, or I don't know, there's whole sorts of things, but I'm more than okay with having more content.
That's okay. I did have I'd say a friend that, I'm a bit ashamed to admit this, but he messaged me once and said he started watching WandaVision and he finds it interesting, but then asked me who these characters were. And I was like, well, it's Wanda and Vision from the MCU. And he's like, yeah, I've never seen an MCU movie. And I'm like, did you just bandwagon onto WandaVision? I'm just because of the hype. I'm like, that's the worst thing you can do.
And I don't think it's the worst thing. I actually knew quite a few people that got into WandaVision that may not have seen a lot of the MC movies or anything else in the MCU.
Yeah, he'd seen none of them. Like none.
Wow.
And I was like,
wow. I mean, it was an amazing show.
It was. And I was like trying to explain, like, yeah, it carries over from House of M and all that. And he had no idea. I'm like, I can't begin to do this. Like, this is literally you jumping in to Mandalorian and then saying, what am I watching? And then I say, well, there was a character called Boba Fett and his, late race of people was the Mandalorian. And you have no idea what I'm talking about. Like, it's like doing that. But yes.
Yeah.
Mega J, what do you think? Has the MCU lost steam since its peak? Since its prime?
Yes.
Yeah. Full stop. Yes. I love it.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know. It's all good. It's all good, my friend.
No, I don't know. Like, truthfully, I watched a couple of the, I guess they're all now connected to the cinematic universe. I mean, I liked Hawkeye. I really liked Hawkeye. I thought that was a really great series. I got through most of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I didn't mind it. You know what I mean? I couldn't get through She-Hulk. It just too many filler episodes. I was waiting for something to happen, and I almost gave up on WandaVision. Actually, I needed to skip an episode of WandaVision just to get to a point. And once I got to that point, then I'm like, okay, now something's happening. Now I can get on board with this thing, right? So and you know what? I'm all about character development. I'm all about, learning about the characters and everything like that. So I understand where they're going with, this new MCU. And the original movies were what they were. I mean, were they all great? No. I mean, Thor was a hot mess. The original Thor, it had somewhere to go, but it just didn't get there. By the time it took them several movies before they could actually get a decent film out. And you know what? Ragnarok is the accumulation of that learning process, right? And you could argue that the directors who made it happen, right? So Guardians of the Galaxy was amazing. The first one was absolutely incredible. I really loved it, right? But then, you know what? A lot of the films back onto the 80s or the 90s as a placeholder, and people really associate with that. The ones who are born in that time, right? And some people have discovered new music from that. People have looked at these films as great ideas. But the new Marvel versus the old Marvel, like after Endgame kind of idea, I think they're trying to figure out where they are right now. They don't have, this new series of films doesn't have the team concept yet. You know what I mean? They're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
With the MCU, what happened with the original MCU? I think Jon Favreau really stumbled on something when he created Iron Man, and then from that, they were able to start thinking, okay, what does Iron Man start? Iron Man begins the Avengers arc, right? And you know what? It was a slow progression. It took a while, right? And they didn't have a Hawkeye movie. They didn't have a Black Widow movie, but the main characters did get together, and they were all unified by one character who his passing really was able to solidify the team, right? And at the time when I was watching Avengers, I was like, "There's no way this movie is going to be a hit. There's no way. There's too many big personalities, too many heroes, too many tropes." Right. And just like in the Avengers comics, they're all fighting against each other because you know what, they have too many ego, right? It was crazy. And Josh Whedon, to his credit, you know, took that and ran with it. He said, you know what, yeah, they're not going to get along with each other. They all have very strong personalities, and he was able to use that to actually make an incredible movie. And I remember being a believer during the Avengers timeline, and I was really now. Following that up with Ultron, not so great, but they were then they started really leaning into you know, the Infinity Saga, and that's, I think, really where a lot of people got invested. And as that grew, things, but that's the problem, right? That's the problem we're facing right now. You have an incredible arc, you had two incredible arcs. You had the lead up to the Avengers, right? Then you had the lead up to the Infinity Saga Endgame. How do you follow that up? You're asking this new generation of Marvel fans, and well, not me Marvel fans, but you're asking this new MCU to pick up from the Infinity Saga. Those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's tough. That is really, really tough. Are they like, you're gonna stumble, you're gonna make a few mistakes. So far, I'm actually okay with what they produced. Again, I probably would have really gotten into She-Hulk. It was leading somewhere, but it just too many fillers. Like, I was waiting for something to happen. You know what? That's fine, Silver K. That's fine.
I get that, but it's fun, and I don't know. It was very enjoyable that I didn't really care about that other stuff as much. You know, I kind of forgot about it and just enjoyed the ride of it.
Well, I mean, it's not so much that there was other stuff. I was just waiting for something to happen. Right, like she would beat the enemy of the day, whether it was through philosophical concepts, right, or actually just beating the hell out of them, right. There was two different like parallels there, and it really did show a good side of a character who's analytical, who's smart, who's very very thoughtful and caring, and that was great. But I needed to get somewhere. Like, I was waiting for an actual arc. You know what I mean? Something to, and they finally did it the last 3 episodes or 4 episodes, right? They finally showcased, that she was actually being stalked, that people were, trying to take her blood, right? So, sorry, spoilers ahead, but there was so much of an arc that was finally done, but when you get to the point where you're doing it in the last 3 episodes, it feels rushed. You know what I mean? Like, the payoff was just, for me, I
can
pretty much already said, okay, I'm gonna wait until the whole thing and finish it out later, right? And the connection she made with characters, through the series, came back, all this crazy stuff, right? And again, I appreciate all that.
Daredevil is great.
Yeah, but just like Wanda, I almost gave up on WandaVision. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, Wanda was the very much the Groundhog Day idea, right? But even in Groundhog Day, every single day they showed something different, like literally something different. And with Wanda, after the 3rd episode, I was kind of like, okay, if I don't get something soon, I'm gonna, I'm gonna take a break. And I had to skip 1 episode in order to get to that 1 episode where she literally, flipped her switch. So that's what that was. But what does that mean? That means that if they have a direction, right, which now we know the space arc is coming, and that the Secret Wars is coming. One of my favorite arcs in the Marvel comics, right? I don't know how they're going to pull off. Like, are they going to go straight for Secret Wars 2, or are they going to go for Secret Wars 1? Right, that's going to be interesting, right? Because if they go for Secret Wars 2, we can see a lot of great characters coming into the fray.
Secret Wars 2, but because there's also Secret War that I think was it Bendis that wrote that.
If you're talking about the Skrulls, then
okay.
Like, which arc are you talking
you're
about?
thinking Secret Invasion, maybe.
Okay, so yeah, we know that's coming too, right? We know that they're setting that up. It's already
all
been
the secrets are coming.
Yeah, I really should have brushed up my Marvel before doing this. I thought, this is a great topic. I'm gonna shoot from the hip. Wait, I haven't read a comic since 2016, and I didn't watch any films since the last movie I watched was Thor: Love and Thunder in the theater. And I realized I came up with this topic, and that was how many months ago that I went to the theater to watch Love and Thunder. Anyway, Mega J, you can finish your thought. I just jumped in there.
No, I'm pretty much done. I mean, like, I think that I think that you haven't done this latest set of movies on any or this latest set of TV shows or whatever. You haven't done them any favors. Like, you have left them with a huge, father figure, mother figure, just this huge archetype to really try and match. And in order for you to do that, something else has to happen, right? The Infinity Saga is definitely one of those ones where, like, a lot of superheroes, were defeated and some died, right? And now you have to look at again, if you're going to do, I think Secret Invasion is amazing. I think that the concept behind that's great. I mean, they can become anybody, anywhere. Some of them can take powers, right? It's pretty cool. But if you look at, like, Secret Wars, if they're actually going to do that arc, I mean, the Beyonder and the introduction of so many different characters during that time. I mean, in reality, that's actually where Venom came from, right? But that arc is going to be something separate. But then, you know what? Venom is leading into a different idea entirely now, right? Because he's in two different multiverses, right? So yeah, it's gonna be interesting how that plays out.
Which I totally forgot that he was in that post-credit scene in No Way Home. When I just saw that, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. They're doing that, because I think I watched the first Venom, but like I kind of half watched it, and then I don't think I ever watched the second one.
Well,
so we'll see. I saw you bring up Ryan's comment. I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. I was actually going to bring it up later, that there really is something for everyone in the MCU now. And I think for the first couple of phases, there may not have been necessarily. But now I think with the TV shows and WandaVision being so different and She-Hulk being so different and Miss Marvel, I think it brings a lot of people in. And not only that, it's a lot more diverse now. So I feel like everyone, can see all these different characters and hopefully relate to, at least one of them. And I think, that really brings a lot of people into it.
Well, no, that's fair point. I'm glad that you circled back to his comment there. And I'll be honest, like, I was totally into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and continued to be kind of on and off. Now, around 2015, my son was born. So then, like, your life kind of goes into this different mode at that period of time. And I remember just the year later, Civil War came out. And of course, I had to make arrangements to watch that. And then of course, Infinity War and Endgame came out 2018, 2019. And I was like, okay, I think this is all the Marvel I can handle at this point in time. Like, it's all that I hit my capacity, like my mental capacity, with Marvel Cinematic Universe post Endgame. Like, that's about all I needed to close the saga out. Now, of course, they introduced Spider-Man much later in the MCU than you would have initially assumed. And I know it had to do with rights with Sony and getting the rights back and the rights lapsing. So when I watched the Spider-Man movies, when I watched Homecoming, when I watched No Way Home, Far From Home, whatever else is coming out, and I will continue to follow them, I watch him as a singular character because I got used to him not being part of the MCU. That was a real treat to bring him back in Civil War. Like, when he showed up at the end of the trailer, I was like, oh my God, it's Spider-Man. That's so cool. Right. So, like, for me, like, I look at Endgame as like closing the loop. And then everything after that is kind of like been bonus content for the last 4 years. That's kind of how I see it. Now, maybe that's just my dad brain thinking that, like, like, for me, I had a very life-changing thing in 2015. So I was running on adrenaline till 2019. And I was like, okay, good. I can shut my brain off here. Right. I'm not sure if that's what it is. Right. Maybe because Game of Thrones season 8 also closed off in 2019, maybe because we had a pandemic in the early part of 2020. Maybe that's why I sort of compartmentalized the MCU as like pre 2019 and post 2019. I don't know if that's just me.
No, I don't think that's just you. And I think that's kind of how I viewed it for a while. And also, we had years and many movies to fall in love with all of these characters. And I think it's hard to get over that.
Yes.
And, fall in love with all these new characters. But I think, it's slowly starting, especially now with Ant-Man, to get into, the nitty-gritty of what this multiverse saga is going to be. And I hope that, we can fall in love with these new characters. I don't think it's ever going to be the same. Like, I feel like this second saga is literally like a sequel to a first movie where, you know, it's just never going to be quite as good as the first one. But I'm hoping we can, you know, at least get some of that, you know, love and energy back again with the multiverse saga.
All right. Well, speaking of getting some energy into this, why don't you explain this one to us, Kayla? I love this when you sent it to me. By the way.
I found this last night, and I think it just really rings true to a lot of the people that have been complaining about, you know, post Endgame and Phase 4 and how things are. And yeah, we've gotten like such incredible like Easter eggs in all of these shows and movies and these nods. Like we got the freaking Illuminati, you know, and I watched Black Panther last night, and oh my god, that was hard to watch again. But you know, Spider-Man with the other Spider-Mans coming into it, like we've done such amazing moments that I think we haven't really taken time to appreciate those, because it's hard after Endgame, like you were just saying. But I think there is a lot in these movies and shows that we can appreciate, and you know, look forward to more of those.
Oh, for sure. But this is, I'm glad that I wasn't the only one feeling this when you sent this to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, not every film can be, you know, Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit biased. Yeah.
And exactly. We have that recency bias. Like Endgame, Infinity War, like those are amazing. Most people think they were great movies and a great culmination of the Infinity Saga.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I forgot that happened at the end of Moon Knight because I kind of half watched it.
Yeah.
I had to look up that first image. I was like, that looks familiar. I can't remember what it is. And I was like, oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I didn't get very far into Moon Knight, but what I'll do while we're sharing screens is I am working on a video about my own sort of like attachment to the MCU that'll come out sometime in the spring. So here's a little preview of it. Thought now would be the time to share. And no, Jay, this is not Ken just randomly flexing again. This is kind of when I had to collect the Avengers toy line. When I had to collect the MCU as a set of characters, I wanted the core team. But to me, that core team, to complete them, you need Nick Fury. That's kind of how I feel. And Mega J's flashed up the Mattel logo as kind of like his way of flipping the bird at me for for presenting this on the screen. I just kind of feel like Nick Fury adds so much to what the MCU is. Maybe because that's the version of him that appeared in what do you call it? The Ultimates comics in the early 2000s. They showed him kind of like having Samuel L. Jackson's likeness. And then, of course, 6 years later, they created the actual MCU and he was the actor portraying it. It's like, oh my God, that's the Nick Fury I read in the comics. And it was great for that particular purpose. So, these do come from different incarnations of the movie. Like Black Widow, Iron Man, and Hulk are from the original like Avengers 2012 film. Cap and Hawkeye are from the Age of Ultron film, and Thor is the sleeveless. Which one? Which one?
For Cap's suit.
Oh, but I prefer this over the 2012 spandex looking, like, because I know he didn't wear spandex in the 2012 film, but it was spandex-ish. You know what I mean? So this one looks more modernized.
Yeah, and just like a brighter blue too.
Yes. And of course that Thor is actually from the Dark World version, so it's got the gold plates in the middle of his chest rather than silver. But I like the light armor because I grew up, you know, like with the Walt Simonson run, and he was the sleeveless version, not the armored version. And I just think that head sculpt of Chris Hemsworth is just bang on for what it is. Like that's the best one. Like all the head sculpts are really good, but like the Chris Hemsworth one is just.
I don't think Hawkeye had purple on him in Avengers, right?
Oh, it was this is from Age of Ultron, so yes, he probably
Oh,
did at the
okay.
time. Yeah, like you're probably more used to his 2012 Avengers run, but anyway, just
Yeah,
figured I'd give everyone that slight preview
love
of
it.
this. All right. I just love how Mega J's new default screen is the Steve from Mattel.
Mattel.
Is the Steve from Mattel. Like he and Hatter have this thing going. Yeah. Oh, well, Kayla, do you
Oh, there he is.
he specifically came back once that image was gone.
He's like, it's gone. I can
It's
come
gone.
back.
I can come back. He's been getting on me about flexing a lot lately. I'm like, but I've had those figures since like before I met you, Mega J, like years before I met you. Before the price went
No,
like
I'm not.
this.
I wasn't saying you flexed on those. I was saying you flexed on what you got like yesterday. Like,
Yeah, I know. We've had this thing going for the last few days because like I didn't realize that the G.I. Joe classified figures I got were like I'm usually the last person to get the figure. So when I got them, like I got these, and him and Mad Hatter were like, "Oh, G-Can showing off your new stuff." I'm like, I'm like, oh, Amazon's gonna deliver these in the spring. Whoops! And I happened to for once I got them early, which we never do in Canada, right? So
no, that's not
anyway.
we get stuff in Canada, but you definitely got them, and there was everyone on the stream. Where'd you get those? And you know again.
Yeah, if anyone who's curious, that's the Falcon Cover Girl and what do you call it? Outback figures that I got from the latest G.I. Joe Classified wave, which by the way, I'm putting up a video on that later today. Just doing a review because after that stream with Mega J and Hatter, I went and filmed a review. I left my whole setup and I just went and filmed it that right then and there. So so the next part I wanted to circle back on was, do you have a favorite superhero and a favorite movie? And Kayla, you're not allowed to just say Chris Hemsworth Thor because of his gorgeous looks at all. Okay, you can say it. If
I mean,
you want.
you got the wrong Chris. I don't know if you can see behind me.
I know. All right. Well, let's.
Evans is my husband.
Yes, I know you've been that's been kind of a meme going on, but yes, do tell favorite movie, favorite character, and we'll circle over to Jen.
So I think because of that, most people would think one of the Captain Americas, and don't get me wrong, Winter Soldier and Civil War were both amazing. Love them. But I think I just have a soft spot in my heart for the first Avengers movie because I've seen, all the other MCU movies before that, but I think it was the Avengers that really pulled me into the MCU. I haven't read the comics or anything, full disclosure, and I was just like absolutely hooked and obsessed after that. Like I already really enjoyed the movies and had seen them a bunch of times, but after I saw Avengers, and I saw it in 3D the first time I saw it, and I actually thought it was really good in 3D. And just I think I saw it maybe opening day or something, and just that energy in the theater and everything was just so fun, so amazing, so much fun. And also I've always been a big fan of uniting together over commonalities, not just superheroes, but just the world in general. We have a lot more similarities between us than differences. And and I really enjoyed that aspect of it, of teaming up, uniting. Of course it was against aliens and Loki, but I don't know, just something about it. Just I'm also just a very nostalgic person, so I think just looking back at it, and it's 11 years now that it came out. I loved it very much. I would say after that though would probably be, I don't know, it's a hard tie between Endgame and Civil War. Like they're both so good. Winter Soldier is obviously really good too, but something about Civil War.
It hits a different. It hits
Civil
a
War
different vibe.
Civil War was basically another Avengers movie though, so maybe that's why I'm so biased.
Yes,
but yes, love Captain America. Love that he sticks true to his values, and is just trying to be a good person and do what's right for the world. I mean, granted, they all are, but besides the fact that Chris Evans is very attractive, but I beyond that though, for sure, I love.
Was he attractive as a human as Human Torch as well, or only as Cap?
Yes, Yes, he was attractive as Human Torch. He's always been attractive.
All right.
What is it?
All
Not
right.
another teen movie that he was into? Yeah.
I forgot. Oh, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Some sleeper hits.
Mega J.
So that's my.
You got a favorite? You got a favorite hero and a favorite film in this franchise?
I mean, truthfully, the team movies are always going to be fun, but I always do like individual effort as well. I'd have to say that if I had a favorite character, it's going to be Tony Stark. I mean, his character development, the way they wrote him for the movies was impactful. It's not so dissimilar than the way he was written in the original comics. I mean, there were several arcs which they drew from, but the start of the MCU with because there had been Marvel movies before but before Iron Man, tons of them. The fact they were all varying levels of success. Some just dismal failures, right? I mean, you could how many Punisher movies there were there? There were several, right? And I think
the Thomas Jane one especially.
Yeah, I didn't mind the Thomas Jane one. The pacing was terrible. If they had repaced that properly. And this is, quote unquote, this is pre-MCU, right? Because there was no real arc, right? They were all separate entities in of themselves, right? Because Marvel had sold off the rights to so many different companies. The Fantastic Four was another example of that, which you could argue the Fantastic Four wasn't really that bad. And the most successful out of all of them was the X-Men, right? And that one is the one that I really enjoyed the most, really. Out of all the Marvel movies, like just talking about Marvel movies, I thought that in terms of like team movies, I think that was really a great set of films. Truthfully, if I had to say, who were my favorite characters, it would be outside of the MCU. Truthfully, right? And I'm glad that they're bringing them back into the fold, right? Because as you saw in that last picture you guys were talking about, we saw that the Illuminati have opened the door for X-Men, right? The mutants are now coming and being spoken about in Black Panther, right? All these little nods to, as you guys mentioned, all these little nods to these Easter eggs, if you will, right? To these movies, right? Or the upcoming characters that can now be introduced, right? Technically, Deadpool and Wolverine are now finally being folded into the MCU, right? So, there's a lot of interesting stories to be told right now, right? And again, Hugh Jackman is coming back. Who knew, right? Like I knew because money fixes everything. But the point,
Hugh Jackman,
it's true, and he's got to do at least one last hurrah, right? I loved his performance in Logan. I thought Logan was excellent. Right, I loved Patrick Stewart.
I liked Logan.
Right, I can't believe Patrick Stewart came back. But what a wonderful Easter egg, right? For Multiverse of Madness.
That was great.
What an amazing Easter egg, right? And if that is Patrick Stewart's send off, excellent. The way he died, unfortunately.
I hope not.
I just said the way he died, unfortunately, right? But it would be nice to see. It would be nice to see McAvoy and Stewart do one more multiverse, maybe touch of God
crossover and a Star Wars, Star Trek Generations thing.
Yeah, they touch fingers and right, something
cross streams.
Yeah, and then we'll see that. But if I had a favorite character, I still would say it would probably be like Wolverine. I really enjoy Wolverine as a character. Again, now that he's part of the MCU, I can say that kind of. But Iron Man will always be the default movie that I go to because it started the MCU. I am a huge anime and mecha fan, like massive. So for me, seeing him and the way that I love seeing armor. I'm not really a big fan of the nanotechnology. That it's a cop out to me, but I understand why they did it because you need to be able to really move between scenes fast. You can't have a suit up every other because it takes forever, right? So yeah, I really enjoyed the first Iron Man, and I think that's the one that they're really. But my favorite character is going to be Wolverine, and not just because he's Canadian.
Speaking of Wolverine, I see the Colossus comment on here, and I'm just like, I wonder if we'll see one of those like fastball specials that we see in the comics, where people who don't know what we're talking about, it's when when Colossus grabs Wolverine and hurls him into the air, and then he goes through with his adamantium claws, whatever he's attacking.
That scene already been done. That scene was done.
When?
That was in the thing, X-Men United.
Oh shit!
Yeah, he threw it at the Sentinel, and
you know what? We've like purged our memories of X3 of X.
Wait,
no.
Are you talking about?
Was it X2? No, the X2 was United. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, X3 was Last Stand. So I'm sitting there. I got confused for a second. I'm like, but I like X2 United. I just put it in the chat.
You're right. X3. It was X3.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, I would have remembered if it was X2 United. Like I would forget Last Stand because I watched it once in theaters and went, eh.
Last Stand is where that happened, right? He goes, hey, big guy, right? How's your throwing arm, right? He literally said it. He literally said it. He's like, don't miss, right? And then all of a sudden, you see a Sentinel's head just flop on the floor. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, did you forget?
Did Colossus come back in Days of Future Past, or am I thinking of someone else?
Yes, he did, but he was
in Deadpool as well.
Actually, no, he wasn't. You're right, he wasn't. I think
he's like the big silver dude.
Yeah, no, he was not.
No?
He was not in Days of Future Past. No.
Yeah, I don't remember him in Days of Future Past, but
he wasn't in any of the
new ones.
McAvoy. He wasn't in any of the McAvoy films. I don't think he wasn't in any of them.
He's listed on IMDb, so
as a background character then, because
I don't think so. I think he's in it. I watched these ones a lot, so I hope I remember this correctly.
I'm trying to remember what he if he was there. What did he do? Because I don't recall.
I think he was at the beginning of the movie. That first scene in Days of Future Past. I'm trying to find going through the pictures right now.
Yeah, well, let us know. I gotta admit that for me, I really marked out over Civil War, and the reason for that was. In 2007, I left a job that I was working 70 hours.
You're right. He was at the beginning. He was fighting alongside Bobby, and now I remember. You're right.
Yeah. I don't say anything unless I know I'm 99% correct.
I for whatever
you don't talk out of your ass. Let's put it that way. Like some of us do. We just we got to vamp quickly. We talk out of our ass. But
for some reason, I was thinking of Apocalypse. You know what I mean? I was thinking of
too early. That's why. Like, who brings you onto a stream this early? It's only 1 p.m. right in the afternoon. So yeah. Civil War was the one I marked out over because in 2007, when I left a job that I was working like 70 hours a week, I, came back into town, had a little bit more free time just in general. And that was around the time that the trade paperback for Civil War had come out just a few months earlier. So I bought it, read it, and I was like, what is this? Like Captain America as the world's most wanted fugitive. Like he's gone like full rogue heel, but not because he's changed. It's because the world around him changed and he stayed to what he was. And I remember just being like, wow, this is really great. And then feeding into the Ed Brubaker run that was kind of in parallel and slightly after that. And then watching it get advertised as a movie was like, oh my God, I got to watch this. Like that was the one I was most amped for, right? Because, I'd read the Infinity Gauntlet book, or trade paperback, but I wasn't as into it as I was Civil War. So like I kind of knew that big Thanos thing was coming, but I was like, how are they going to fit Civil War into this and then still circle back for the Infinity Saga? Because in the actual Marvel Comics publication, the Infinity Gauntlet thing happens like decades before Civil War, like in terms of the actual print publication timeline. So I was like, this is really ambitious to kind of crunch this all into a couple of years. So I was really impressed by that. So for me, Civil War stands really high up here. So does Infinity War. Winter Soldier is good for what it is. Like it's a completely different kind of MCU film that could be a standalone. So, maybe this is a roundabout way of me saying I really like Captain America as well in the MCU. Like I love Iron Man, but mostly because of the armor, the coolness of the armor and the witty humor. I think that the story that revolves around Captain America was better. And Thor, I noticed the quick pivot they did from the serious first two films to the more humorous third and fourth film.
Yeah.
I have to admit that the last few years I haven't been as great with keeping up with what the movies are based on. Like I didn't realize, and I put it in the chat, I didn't realize that Thor Love and Thunder was based on Jason Aaron's God Butcher run until I went into the theater and started watching Love and Thunder. And I'm like, oh, that's Gore, the actual God Butcher. They're going to make this movie. Oh my God. And I'm finding out while watching the film. And I'm like, this is totally Jason Aaron's run. Like, oh my goodness. Right? Just the backstory of Gore the Butcher and all that. And so I have to admit, like, I haven't been as in tune as I would have liked to be, but it's all still working for me. Like, you know, like as much as I've been on a downcline with the MCU, you get the odd like Spider-Man movie or the Thor throwback to the comics or a good TV series to turn around and watch. Right. Though admittedly, I haven't watched a series since Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I might be a little behind. Yeah.
Just a little bit. just a
like I haven't seen She-Hulk.
Although
I haven't seen She-Hulk. Right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed She-Hulk, but it's funny because I was most excited about Falcon and Winter Soldier because their obvious connection with Captain America. But I was just after I finished Wakanda Forever last night, I was like, oh, I should watch a bit of one of the shows again, and I started watching it, and I was just like, it's just not hooking me into it. And I vaguely remember feeling the same way when I watched it for the first time. I don't know what it is, but like Loki got me hooked, WandaVision got me hooked, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. Yeah, there was just something about it that didn't really get into it. But yeah, you should definitely watch the rest of them for sure. So
right.
There's some good ones.
And there's your Colossus photo that Kayla just sent me on Instagram. Sorry, my ring light's blocking the way.
Your screen.
I could, but yeah, okay. I could just do that.
I could have done the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, the next time I share the screen will be for the giveaway. So everyone just get your names into the giveaway with the proper hashtag and everything. We're going to do that here in a few minutes' time. But first thing I wanted to ask was the loaded question of, this is almost rhetorical, but I did put it as kind of a prep topic. Like, what made the MCU like so popular in your minds? You know, why was it? What made it so great overall? Like, Kayla, as someone who's coming in a bit later into the MCU world, what made it so great for you? I hate to admit, but there's like a half a generation gap between me and Kayla. I always hate admitting that. I treat her like a peer of mine. You know, like I just pretend we went to high school together. You know, even though like I was long finished university when she was like, you know, in sophomore year. But you know,
I appreciate it. Yeah, I think, you know, kind of touched on it before, but there, you know, really is something for everyone in the MCU. And you know, at the same, sorry, it just started pouring outside. I don't know if you can hear that. Oh, it's hailing. That's why.
Okay, I can kind of hear it now if I push my earbuds really close to it.
I'll just be quiet for a second.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. I can barely hear it. I had to try. I had to try listening.
I can't hear anything.
Great. I'm so glad I bought this expensive mic. And yeah, I think there's something for everyone, and you know, and there's also things that not everyone will like in the MCU, and that's fine. You can gloss on to the ones you do like. Like I know so many people that you know, they saw the bigger Avengers team up movies or Civil War, but they also didn't see all the rest of them, and they may not have liked, you know, certain characters, but they did like others. Like some people may have liked Iron Man's more, and so they watch Iron Man movies before any of the Avengers ones, or they really liked the Guardians movies. And I think especially now, like what we talked about before, because they've finally diversified in all the different ways. I think, you know, there is something for everyone. And I think that, you know, even though it's fun to watch everything, see everything come together, I think it's also not necessary to enjoy them. And I think that's why it brings in the more casual fans. I'd say I used to be a casual fan. I don't think I'm a casual fan anymore. But yeah, I think there's just something for everyone. And, you know, there's the more serious side of the MCU. There's the more fun side of the MCU. You can kind of pick and choose what you like, and, you know, no gatekeeping here, at least within this community. And yeah, I think that's why it's been so successful for sure.
All right. Good take, good point on it. Mega J maybe it's rhetorical, but what makes this franchise so great and so popular?
I mean, you've been asking loaded questions all night. I don't know what you're talking about, but
it's also not nighttime, but okay.
But what the thing that connects a lot of us, I think, and I can only speak for myself really, but I do believe that what really connects us to many of these is good stories. At the end of the day, we watch movies because we want to be entertained, and that's really the heart of these things. Arguably, I think X-Men already did a good job of setting up a cinematic universe for themselves, right? It is one of the more successful comic book movie franchises that had come out prior to the MCU. It went and it in and of itself at a certain point had to make its own course correction, with Xavier's School for the Gifted, right? Like that was a huge reboot. Is not exactly a word that I always use, but they needed to bring in new characters, and what a great way of showing the growth from a different perspective where the school started from. The people and the places and are relatable, and I think that's really what it is. These are characters which we can see ourselves reflected in them. They're fallible, because I said phallic the other day and that was wrong.
Yes, you did say that last night. Right, and you did it without. My first thought was, you said this 12 hours too early. Kayla's not here.
Exactly.
I said phallic instead of fallible.
It came too soon.
And I was called out on it immediately.
Too soon.
I was like,
yeah. Brick and highly articulated look at each other like,
yeah.
Did he just say what I think he said? And
4 o'clock in the freaking morning for I jumped on. Yeah. I was here anyway.
Yeah, I know.
They're fallible. Okay, to err is human, and that's what's great about these characters, right? Thor thinks he's a god, and he realizes very quickly that he's just a man, right? That's the story that was told there. Tony Stark believes he is, invincible, right? And realizes very quickly that he's a very much immortal man, right? The pure of heart Captain America realizes that he can't save everybody. Right, no matter how much he wants to, and then he's thrown into a situation like 40 years removed, and 60 years removed, and all of a sudden he's got to save the world again. Right, these are great stories, and the widows, where how she was forced to do something as a young child, right, and then reclaim her overall humanity. Right. Again, wonderful stories that anyone can take, can see each other inside of them. Right. And it doesn't matter really whether or not you're Asian, you're black, you're white, whatever culture you are, you can still see a hero in each of these figures, and you can see yourself in them. Right. And now, as Silver K said, there's more diversity in the MCU. Well, again, I revert back to the X-Men. The X-Men was one of the most diverse teams ever, and it was controversial at the time when those books were being written. Right, the fact that there were so many different cultures involved. There were people who were, not into it back then. Right, they were against it. Right, but you know what? What's it called? Stan Lee and all the writers there and the creators, they stood firm on the fact that we need more inclusion. We need people to be able to see themselves in these. Right, we need other cultures to be part of that. And that was great. And then there was the trope of, well, not trope, but they were using mutants as an allegory, right? Or sorry, as an analogy to talk about culture, right, in a lot of ways, because the mutants are completely separated from everybody else, and they're being persecuted just as hard. And it related to the movies as well, right? So I'm really glad that they're bringing in, hopefully sooner rather than later, the X-Men into the MCU. I think that would really bring more stories into it, a lot more stories.
Right.
Let's hope.
So yeah,
familiarity of character really is what it is, and I'll add in there that it kind of bridges the generational gap, right? Because in theory, our grandparents could have been into Captain America all the way back in the Golden Age, right? Then now, like, kids in the next generation are also into Captain America, or just trying to think of who else was around in that era, because Iron Man didn't show up for another 20 years after. But yeah, to me, it bridges generational gaps.
Well, I mean, if you want to play devil's advocate, Captain America is just a war propaganda. I mean, if you really want to dig deep, right? But that war propaganda still had a message that we can't let evil win.
Right? Yeah, his first issue was literally him punching Hitler in the face. That was the cover of the first issue.
So good messages are good messages, right? At the end of the day, and that I think that we can take from that what we will. Once again, of course, there are comics where he did where it was just kind of cringy now, right? But at the end of the day, as I said, I think good stories are good stories, and I think that's really what connects all of us to the MCU, and one of the major reasons why the movies resonate so well with so many different people.
Thank you for that. Is what I wanted to say. I don't know. I think I muted myself because a plane was flying overhead, and then I forgot to unmute myself. I live not far from the airport, so that's why you occasionally get the plane flying over. So we're at about the 1 hour mark, and I think
How dare you?
How dare I what?
Live near an airport.
Oh, okay. I was sitting there. I'm like, I don't know if I missed a joke or something in there. I was like,
no.
Sometimes it goes over my head, and that's okay. It's just the Kayla humor. Yes. The Kayla
still
charm.
hailing.
The Kayla charm, which we'll call it. A funny story, Kayla. Before I jump into the giveaway, because I wanted to do it at about the 1 hour mark, and we're just around there now. Is that? Did I mention this last time you were on here? You put up a picture, I think, on the Discord one time of you meeting Emily. This is totally aside, but at SDCC you met Emily and Lenny, right? From the G.I. Joe Classified team. And you posted the photo. And because of the way you were all standing, they were wearing like masks and they were like leaning into you. I was trying to figure out who the girl in the middle was. I was like, but where is she from? And then I like zoomed in. I'm like, oh, that's Emily and Lenny. And then I think I messaged back. I was like, you had me fooled because I thought that they were meeting the girl in the middle. And you're like, no, I'm not that cool. I'm like, yeah, but the way the photo was done, it looks like they're meeting you, which I just thought was really hilarious.
Yeah.
Right? And they're wearing their mask, right? You're sitting there with a smile on your face and everything.
Yeah, anyway, it's funny because we took a bunch of pictures and some of them we were wearing masks and we weren't because technically you were supposed to wear it inside, but
it was highly suggested. I heard.
I think it technically was mandatory, but like people would just take them off like real quick like that to do pictures. Right. Sorry if you also hear Milo, my roommate's cat. But it was funny because one of my friends who I always go with, he's a big like comic book toy nerd, and he actually runs a lot of conventions in the Pacific Northwest. And he was like, oh, you have to meet Lenny and Emily. I'm like, I have no idea who these people are. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, but I knew what the Hiss tank was. Like I've, been learning over the past like year and a half, been like
just hanging out with the rest of us and going on Toy Geeks, Co-Anxiety.
Yeah.
This stream here.
Oh my God, is really hailing. But they're just great people, and I will never forget the first thing I said to Lenny, because I was looking at the Hiss tank and looking at the Cobra symbol like from an angle so it looks skinnier. I was like, that looks like something else. And he was talking with a bunch of people and I hadn't been introduced to him yet. And I was like, is it just me or does that look like something else? And they were like, and he's like, you're actually not wrong. He's like, I'm Lenny. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Sorry. He's like,
it's all good.
You weren't wrong in saying that's maybe what the original artists were thinking of when they created that logo. So I was like, well, glad you didn't just dismiss me right away.
It's all good. Yeah. He's shown up on the Lenny sometimes shows up in the live chats of a toy kind of mood. So he's kind of in the community, kind of not. No, just like Ryan Tink sometimes shows up in the Toy Anxiety or Toy Geeks chats. But anyway, I've got the giveaway fired up, And there's a bunch of names in here now. I'm going to go ahead and present the screen. Mega J, did you want to? You've got the. Okay, I was going to say if you want to give a very quick rundown of.
Well, I mean, we're giving away 3 prizes today. So one of them is going to be the Yellow Ranger from Bandai, and if you have the rest of them, you can build a Zord. So good luck with that.
I did that actually.
Good luck with that. You can also get today. You have the opportunity to win Parker from Aliens from NECA.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the lighting's a bit weird.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Right. And the final figure that you could possibly walk away with today is a brand new Rhinox, just in time for the movie. And
for Rise of Beasts, yeah.
And he is the exact same freaking figure. I'm telling you. So.
Yeah. All right.
So which one do you want to give away first, Ken?
You know what? What we'll do? Did you want to we get the 3 names and whoever messages you first picks first. Whoever messages you second.
No, I don't think that's if you're gonna do first, second, third, you really should
okay.
Getting
all right. Tell you what. We'll do it this way. We'll Kayla, what are we giving away first? We giving away Alien, Transformer, or Power Ranger first? Sorry to put you on the spot, but I just did.
No, you're fine. Let's do Transformer first.
Transformer first?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. So.
All right. So y'all see, I'm going to share the screen right here. Hopefully my computer doesn't lag when it's trying to do this because I don't have that much RAM on this particular device. So you see it there. So we're going to give away Rhinox right here. Gosh, am I lagged or am I okay? Am I in real time?
It's moving. I mean, it's fine.
Okay, good.
So.
Good.
It's a little
all right.
laggy.
No, it's
little
fine.
laggy. Okay, we're going to, we got something like 70 names or whatever in here. We are going to spin this wheel, and we are going to see who won the Rhinox. Do-do-do-do-do-do. It's spinning. It's spinning. It's spinning. It's spinning. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And the winner is Skyfall. Skyfall.
Wow,
you
Skyfall.
just
Congrats.
won Rhinox. I'm going to, I don't have a pen here, so I'm literally going to text the winners to myself. Let's see. Skyfall won Rhinox. I think Skyfall will enjoy that. And Skyfall, you can just message your address to Mega J. Oh, and I just realized I got to take your name out of here. I forgot to remove your name. Oh, there it is. Okay. Got to remove your name. Okay.
I was
Let's
thinking
see.
the same thing, Brick.
So who's next?
Who's next? When the sky falls. Oh, Brick's comment here. When the sky falls.
Yeah.
All right. So what we'll do next is we will. Ooh, wow. This is a tough one to think of. Is it going to be the Alien figure or is it going to be the Power Ranger figure? They're so on opposite ends, right? Like one is like 70s, one is like 90s. So, all right. Let's go with the. Huh? Okay, you can pick.
Do you want
Kayla.
me to pick?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Let's do the Power Ranger.
All
right. Power Rangers Yellow Ranger from the Lightning Collection goes.
No, it's not the Lightning Collection.
Sorry, the Bandai Legacy. Bandai Legacy.
That's
okay.
Right, Bandai Legacy, yeah.
All right. So, Skyfall, if you're still in the chat, make sure that you send your address to Mega J, and we will get this over to you. Mega J, I'll pay for the shipping since you're giving away your.
Actually, you should send it to Ken just in case you're like. I know Skyfall's following me, but just in case anybody who's not following me, send the address to Ken. Okay.
All right, that's fine. We'll do it that way. You know what? Skyfall is actually on Patreon, so I can just get a hold of him there.
Yeah.
So you're right. Let's
Skyfall is following me too, but I'm just saying if anybody's not following me, then just send the address.
All right. Let's do it that way. All right. And the Yellow Ranger from Bandai goes to. Let's spin this thing. And the winner is Gura's PC Glass. I actually don't know how to get a hold of you, but you know what? That's okay. I will reply your comment on the giveaway stream, and you can send me your address that way.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Congratulations on this. So let's remove your name. And that means we only have one more left to give away on this wheel of names. So the Alien figure goes to. Let's spin this baby.
It's Parker from
and see.
Aliens.
Sorry, it's what?
It's Parker from Aliens, actually.
Parker from Alien. Sorry, I'm bad. I have bad memory. All right. Sorry, did it come up? My screen lagged. Kid Chuckle.
Mine-
All right, Kid.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can walk that over to Kid Chuckle.
Woo!
Kid Chuckle lives down the street from me.
Are you
Oh my
serious?
god, how funny.
Are you
Save you some
serious?
shipping.
He's gonna be. I think Kid would have wanted the. Not that it matters, but Kid would have wanted the Rhinox. I'm pretty sure. Nah, he's got 10 Rhinoxes.
Oh.
I already know he's got 10 Rhinoxes. It's
All right, cool. So you know what I'll do is since you and Kid Chuckle know each other, I'll leave you and him to coordinate that, and I'll worry about.
Idea. I'm just gonna.
I'll leave you.
I'm gonna laugh at him right now. Actually, it's gonna be fun.
Drop off on
Yeah.
the doorstep.
Yeah. All right.
This wasn't
Cool.
set up, by the way. This wasn't set up. This was.
Mhm.
Well, I had no idea you two were.
Sure,
like.
Jan, sure.
This was a fair contest. I swear.
Yeah, and thank you again, Mega J, for being so generous to us to do this giveaway, which I know you asked about like over a month ago, and I was like, yeah, we'll get to it, and then you put me on the spot a couple weeks ago. I was like, remember this?
When are we gonna
Yes,
do
I
this?
do remember this.
When are we gonna do this?
Yes.
You call me
yes.
lazy, man. Like, come on. Like, I just wake up late. You're freaking.
I don't call you lazy. I just call you a sleeper inner type of person. Is that
4
even a
o'clock
word?
in the morning.
Normally, I would still be sleeping.
4 o'clock in the morning. Damn it.
Only for you, Ken. Only
That's
for
right.
you.
Only for you, Ken.
She wakes up. Yep. You both wake up for my sake.
That's
Yep.
exactly what happened.
I was up like 7.
You dork.
Yesterday, I got up like a couple hours later than I normally do. It was awesome. Right. Today, I was like, oh, I got a stream to do. Like I set my alarm to Toto's Africa just so I have a song I like when I wake up to it, rather than just the.
Sleep. That would just keep me asleep.
I used to do that, but then I would be like too happy and then fall back asleep.
Yeah,
so
that's
it
what
needs
I'm
to be
saying.
the like
Okay.
intense alarm, or else I'll not wake up.
Mhm.
Silver K is exactly like me. I'd be like,
Yeah, I need my sleep. I will
And thank you,
take
Gaz.
sleep over anything.
Thank you guys for the links in the chat there. He was watching Formula One racing earlier, so I'm like, you know what? You don't have to be monitoring the chat as our all-star moderator. Don't worry about that. But I'll delete any spam bots, which I haven't had any spam bots in a while, which is kind of nice. I think they've all
you're
kind of
lucky.
gone.
I literally had to like. They literally came back for me. Freaking ridiculous.
I think they ping pong back and forth between people. Like when
Clearly
you
I
don't
was
have
not
them, I've
there.
got them. So yeah, and thank you, Impossible Pie. Yes, hit that like button. So.
Smack it.
All right. Smack it hard. Smack it the way we like it. So,
Mhm.
Yes. Wow.
See,
Look what
That
you've done. Like you've
escalated quickly.
influenced me. You've influenced me.
I did nothing.
That's what I was
I
about to
did
say.
absolutely nothing.
So Silver K was like the subtle one. You just went like all in. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, well, like
You know, I'm normally
The same thing happened last time. I was trying to contain myself and be proper and professional, and then he had to bring in all these other comments.
and it happens in the live chats of other streams too. Like you'll say something and then I'll piggyback off, but I'm like, how are you influencing me this much? Like you leave a little hint and then I go to the next level. And you
The,
and
like,
Black Phoenix
mentality.
That's the thing, right? You and Black Phoenix were in a chat one time, I think, on Toy Geeks on GDL After Dark, and you're like, Ken, completely unleashed right now. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, you know what? This isn't really Ken. This is somebody's hacked my account, and you didn't see me on screen, so it was okay. But now I have no cop out. I can't deflect this one. I have to say I was like doppelgangered in X-Men style. I was like somebody morphed into me.
On that. That's not how it works, but okay. Speaking of Black Phoenix, his comments.
Oh gosh, you see what we've done here? See what we've done here? Freaking love it.
I forgot.
Right.
I don't know whose stream it was or something, and they were like, "Oh, let's keep it PG here," and it has nothing to do with what I was commenting. There was other people commenting things, and I was like, "There's no such thing as PG or PG-13 when I'm around. I'm sorry, that's not how this works."
Well, yeah, your very first comment when we jumped on the House of the Dragon stream was like, let's talk about some hot D, and I was literally taking a sip of coffee, and I had to like stop myself from like spitting it back out because I still had to bring Brick something and Kelly Slaughter onto the channel. I'm just like, because I hadn't made that connection yet. A lot of people had. I watched 10 episodes and I didn't think about that.
You gotta start with a bang.
Gotta start with a bang.
All I will say.
Wham bam pow. All right. Wow. Well, we've been going for about 75 minutes here. Like, just want to know, how do we close off a loaded MCU stream like this? Like, do we expect more? Like, what do we expect going forward from the MCU?
Yeah, I think we definitely expect more. Yeah, at least we hope there will be more and not as much, fun character development content as we've gotten, which it's fun. And it's fun to go back to that. And I really enjoyed this rewatch that I just did. I think it's nice to have those, but at the same time, yeah, just because we had so much with the Infinity Saga and Endgame that we're like, okay, we're ready, let's go, let's get into the meat of the multiverse saga now. So I'm hopeful. I have not lost hope yet. I'm really hoping they know where they're going with it. Yeah, 'cause right now it seems kind of a little all over the place, but that was also the beginning of the Infinity Saga, so I think it's only up from here.
Dynamo Dave says, favorite moments. I like, for whatever reason, for me, it's the certain moments that you can capture in the trailer, like when the 6 Avengers are standing on the streets of New York City and they pan the camera around and they're all kind of standing in a circle back to back with one another. I don't know. Some people found that a bit cheesy, like 80s cheese. I loved it.
Loved that.
I loved it. And also at the end of the Civil War trailer, when Tony goes Underoos, and then Spider-Man steals Captain America's shield, goes, "Hey everyone, we cut the block." Because I didn't know he was. I don't know if any of you knew. I didn't know he was going to be in that film. I didn't read any articles about it.
I think I had kind of gotten spoiled.
I hadn't. I saw it. I was like, yes. What channel's hosting the after party? I don't know. We got Toy Geeks tonight, don't we? I guess, and then they have their own after party. So we'll take a bit of a break.
Sign up for today's Patreon.
I might miss the whole thing because I've got the AEW Revolution pay-per-view to watch tonight. So I got to watch some wrestling. And I did contribute an article to the new Geek Dad Life website. So Colleen and Jay have both read it. They both like it. So yeah. It's all about the Renaissance era of toy collecting, which I've coined this particular era of our lives. So anyway, is Mega J frozen?
Real quick, no,
he's not.
No,
he's just
chilling.
I'm just waiting for you. I'm just waiting for you guys to finish.
A few of us are going to be catching wrestling.
Wow, what
tonight.
A gentleman, letting us finish first.
Yeah, I can always dive in.
I was going to say for favorite moments, real quick, since you brought up Civil War, personally, my favorite in that movie is when Captain America is holding onto the helicopter in that one scene like this. Yep, for plot reasons, I love that moment.
Anything Cap
for the plot.
Mega J. What do you want to talk about, Mega J, for the last couple of minutes here?
That's hilarious. I'm trying to remember what your original question, what your tail off question was, because you said.
Did I have a tail off question?
Oh, there wasn't one.
Favorite one.
I was expecting a patented, Ken throwdown for the WWE. I was waiting for something. Throwing the belt on the shoulder. I got
the Slaughterhouse.
Here it comes.
Climax.
I was like, here it freaking comes, and but I let you finish first. You enjoyed yourself. And, I'll just wipe myself down. And you'll be okay.
Did you see Ant-Man, Mega J?
You know what? I liked it. I liked Ant-Man.
I liked it too.
I liked it. There were some things which I thought, it's like any movie. Not every movie is going to be perfect, right? But I enjoyed the passing of the torch. You know what I mean? Me personally, and I don't know if anybody else felt this, but I felt that it would have had a lot of gravity if both of them were okay. Wait, you know what? I just nearly said something there.
Spoiler alert!
If anybody hasn't watched the movie,
leave right now.
Just mute your. I'll go like this, and then we're back. And last warning, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it right now. But Yeah. No, I was. I felt that there would have been a lot of gravity if they hadn't finished it the way they did. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
in that last scene.
You mean they were stuck there?
Yeah, well, okay, fine. So Kayla's just one had to say
Yeah.
it. But basically,
I mean, that still doesn't,
yeah,
do anything
technically, but I think that a lot of people by now will have understood what that meant. But I think that but it would have been a cruel. I think it would have been cruel. She'd already lived through like I guess like 10 years of that. Sorry, 7 years. 7 years, right? Was it 7 years that the blip happened? I can't remember now.
Oh, 5 years.
The blip was 5 years. Okay, yeah. So
The blip was 5 years.
She already lived.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about oh my god, Michelle Pfeiffer's character, the original Wasp, being stuck in the quantum realm.
Yeah. No, he's been there forever. Right? He was already there for like almost a decade, even longer than that, I think. But I think that what's her name again? Peanut there. She'd already lived through five years of not having either of those parental figures, right? So leaving them there again without anybody to guide her, I think would be tough because she's still got to learn how to punch, right? She's still got to learn how to punch. She's still that's right, Cassie. She's still got to learn how to punch. She's still got to learn how to really control her suit, right? So she has two mentors who can really do that for her. So I totally get it. But if they had not been able to get back, I think it would have been I would have been happy. I would have been satisfied with that. And she'd have to learn through Hank and through she still has Hank. She still has
and they were all gone too.
Yeah. So I enjoyed the movie. I did. It sets up a lot of things. Obviously, the Kang arc, right? So we're gonna see a lot more Kang. I mean, it's inevitable. We're gonna see a lot more Kang.
More than okay with that. I think we all are okay with that.
He got jacked though. I mean, like, and I know why. I mean, he's in Creed, right? But he got jacked.
I mean, I think he probably got jacked for both.
Maybe, but you look at him. You look
Either
at him
way,
in Loki.
No one's complaining.
You look, of course. You look at him in Loki, and then you look at him in Ant-Man, and you're like, what the heck just happened to this guy? Right? Of course, Creed.
I mean, it's not a huge difference. Like I just rewatched Loki before I saw Ant-Man, and like definitely a bit, but like you also can't tell because
no, I know, but he definitely whereas you can see it in his cheeks. You can see the definition, like in the. Forgive the term, he's softer in Loki than he is. He's hard in.
I mean, he's two different characters too, so True. I think that worked out well because I mean, he was kind of like playful as He Who Remains in Loki, and I think that added to his character a bit, not as like rigid and sculpted as an Ant-Man.
And now we're going to see billions of his characters, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, but I think the MCU has a long way to grow. I think that they have a lot. Like obviously, you just look through the 60 or 70 years of or 80 years of Marvel now, Jesus, and of course that's not how old it is. But you look at the Marvel as a company, and there's just way too many characters. They could keep going for decades. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah,
like, new movies, new characters. We could do the West Coast Avengers. We can do the Avengers, the West Coast Avengers. We can do, so many different teams out there, so many different enemies, so many different, arcs, right? So it's interesting and refreshing to see that more stories are going to be told. And again, Spider-Man in and of itself has so many different characters to draw from. It's just nuts. So yeah. Awesome, good stuff.
Well, you know what? This has been a really fun stream, and you both know you're welcome on here anytime. I assume we all got our closing thoughts in on Marvel in those last few minutes. I know I stepped away for a little bit to use the restroom and get myself some water to rehydrate.
Ken was thirsty.
Yeah, was thirsty. Had a coffee, didn't realize coffee dehydrates you just like beer dehydrates you, and then back with a little bit of water. All right. So, that was a fun, like, overall, just revisiting the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the good thing about this is this was such a broad topic. We can come back and literally just talk like Marvel villains or something at some point in time, you know, and just
we
hit
need
up
to get Dole on too.
Yeah, he's been really busy lately. Like I messaged him on Instagram a little while ago, and he hasn't even read the message. But I'll probably see him in about 4 weeks' time at the P&E toy show. So, Dole, if you're watching this and you quote me, you will get a discount on anything you buy at my table, like a deep discount, like a big discount. So, but if you don't watch this and you don't remind me, I'll still give you the discount, or you'll just walk by me because we'll totally miss each other because it's like an almost 400 table show. It's over 30,000 square feet in there, but I'm sure I'll catch him sometime in the 2-day weekend event. But anyway, if you're watching,
so I think I need to show off my Corgi Avengers shirt. It's pretty awesome.
Let's full screen you briefly just so we can see the Corgi. No, you don't want to be full screen on your Avengers swag.
Okay. It is what it is. At
Silver
this
case
point.
showing off the goods.
Yeah,
showing off the goods.
I know. I showed Ken before the stream. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm showing my
PG, please."
Yeah, because we were offline too, so it was just me and her, and I see her like rolling her shirt up. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I guess we're good.
This
friends
isn't
now.
OnlyFans.
I think I was like, I could add a tier to the Patreon, but we got to discuss this before, like not 2 minutes before we go live. I love how you're a good sport about it too. Yes.
Always.
Okay. Well, I know some people are just coming into the chat right now. Hopefully, the replay is just as entertaining as the initial. Say what? Oh,
it's a great timing.
Great timing.
That's what they're on for. Watch me flash my shirt.
Yep. That's what
Gaz has it right. TKO after dark. All right. I'm going to premiere G.I. Joe review probably an hour or two from now. So stay tuned for that. And yes, nap time. Brick something. Good for afternoon nap or late morning nap wherever you are. So anyway, subscribe to Mega J Retro. His link is in the description below. And thank you again for the generous giveaway. And you can follow Kayla Silva on Instagram. Gaz put up the link in the chat earlier, and I've got it in the description below. But otherwise, enjoy the replay. Be kind to each other. Enjoy your Marvel movies. And before we sign off, Jay, I'm gonna steal a quote from you. Just to end the stream. Geek proud, everyone.
Oh,
Geek proud.
Proud.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ken.